On the 71st anniversary of World Human Rights Day, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres sounded an alarm.
Young people are rightly demanding that governments listen to them and respect them. Their voices must be heard.
This against a backdrop of long-lasting protests the world over. In Chile Tuesday, authorities fired water cannons and tear gas at protesters.
I want to share with you an agenda to fight abuses and ensure dignified and fair treatment to all Chileans, to strengthen a culture of respect for the human rights of everyone, every time and place, enhance the support and aid that we give to the victims of human rights, and always guarantee the access to truth and justice, and always avoid impunity.
While in the Philippines, protesters burned an effigy of President Rodrigo Duterte. Thousands of Filipinos have died since Duterte began a violent crackdown on the use and commerce of illegal drugs.
We cannot allow that basic social services are deprived from the people, that the human rights violations and rampant killings will go on, because that is the kind of society that we will pass on to the future generations.
Meanwhile, in Indonesia, protesters marched to the U.S. Embassy in Jakarta for freedom of speech and religion.
In commemorating International Human Rights Day, we have come here to convey that the democratic rights and human rights of the Indonesian people have not been fulfilled and have been usurped by the government.
Secretary Guterres, in his address Tuesday, criticized countries that punish defenders of human rights, while Secretary of State Mike Pompeo labeled as human rights abusers China, Iran, Syria, and Venezuela. Absent from the list, North Korea, regarded as one of the worst abusers of human rights. Guterres says the world's youth are the future of human rights.
Human rights violations, misogyny, and exclusion are widespread and systematic. Inequality is growing, and hate speech is poisoning public debate. The climate crisis, urbanization, and endless conflict are denying millions of people their fundamental rights and freedoms.
This year's theme is youth standing up for human rights, and Guterres applauded young frontline warriors in the fight against climate change, which he says poses a serious threat to both human rights and human life. Arash Arabasadi, VOA News, Washington.